Hello, welcome to the stream. Welcome Ekidana, first time chat. So today we are continuing our ENNIE week with Song of the Scryptwyrm, a Librarian's Apprentice mystery. I have never played Librarian's Apprentice, but the book says that's okay. So while no doubt I'll miss some references and whatnot, should still have a good time with this one. So this week we're looking at the 5 RPGs nominated for the best solo ENNIE game. Hello, Hey Holt, welcome in. And so far we've looked at 3 games. We've looked at The Bonsai Diary, which was a drawing game. We've looked at Odyssey of the Giant, which is a journaling game. Pirouette, which was a ballet game. And now we're looking at Song of the Scryptwyrm, which I don't really know what to expect for this one. It says we need 3 dice and a deck of cards. I also got a physical copy of it, which came with, or I think I had to buy separately, but a physical copy has some special cards, so these might replace the regular playing cards. I guess we'll find out. So I got the physical copy of the book as well. It's a pretty standard glue-bound zine style thing, you know. So we'll be using the PDF because it's more visible, and the physical book doesn't. I don't think it's particularly important to the experience, but I do have it. As with all the others, I've only looked at this game very briefly, just have to work out what I need to play it. So going into it basically blind, we're going to play it and see how we feel about it. Let's see, anything else to say? Yeah, I don't know how long this will last. We'll play until we don't. I do normally, stream for around 3 hours, so if it looks like it's going to take significantly longer than that, maybe we won't get it done. But it'll be nice to get it done. We'll see. So let's get into it. I also like the moth thing on the cover with like a map on its wings. That's pretty cool. So we need 3 6-sided dice, a deck of playing cards, the investigation form at the back of this book, and a pencil. Here we go. We have our stolen document investigation form. We have something about the staff member, investigation tracks, and notes. I'm not sure if this indicates, this is everything we'll need, or if we need to duplicate copies of this. We'll find out. And we've got a little quick reference guide, which is handy because the PDF does not have bookmarks. None of the PDFs for any nominated games have bookmarks. It's very sad. So having exact page references will help with navigating things. Some cool art here. The Yondersmith Glowmite. Opalescent casings are rare. They're quite small. They're used for common tasks. Pretty neat. They're like little library crabs, I suppose. Long trusted individuals are occasionally used as couriers for important administrative documents. Teams form, creating repair squads that integrate lifters with at least one tool wielder. Nice. And this is by Daniel Bronson Lowe. So we have our credits and inspirations. I do like this body font, and so I like that it says which fonts are used, because I could work out which one this is. But this is a very nice font. I like this a lot. Once upon a time, in the infinite and ever-changing Great Library, there lived a fairy tale in search of being told, for that is how such stories survive and grow. It was the tale of an impossible theft, so it found a target, it found a thief, and soon after that the Scryptwyrm found that a vital song had been stolen from its mind. What was stolen? Pick one. The Song of Gates keeps the most dangerous knowledge in the Scryptwyrm's mind locked away. The Song of Light uncovers lies and secrets. The Song of Veils keeps a section of the library hidden. The Song of Time prevents a trio of ancient artifacts from crumbling to dust. The Song of Stones controls the structure of the library surrounding the Scryptwyrm's domain. Or the Song of Masks grants a variety of forms. They're all pretty cool. I'm thinking either the Song of Gates or the Song of Masks. Let's go for the Song of Masks. I'll just note that down here. Okay. The Scryptwyrm was ordinarily a font of information. Many brought it questions they could get answered nowhere else, despite long, difficult journeys and the tribute the Scryptwyrm required. But this time, the Scryptwyrm, who was as powerful as it was enigmatic, could not determine who was responsible or how the deed had been done. How does the Scryptwyrm know the answers to questions? The Scryptwyrm is a collector of secrets. Some say it has many spies among the spirits of the library. Others say its acolytes seek out whispered moments and feed them to it each night. What do you believe? The Scryptwyrm is itself a conduit for a far more knowledgeable power. How does it channel this information to something usable? Or the Scryptwyrm owns an object full of answers. Each answer is presented as a riddle that it deciphers for the inquirer. What is the object? I like the first one. I like the idea of like basically like a secret society of acolytes in the library who bring it secrets. Lists. I do like rolling on lists. Let's just pick these first ones. A collector of secrets. It has many spies who seek out whispered moments. And what does the Scryptwyrm require as payment? A true name, a year of service. I think the year of service kind of fits with what we've just said. You know, maybe you go to the Scryptwyrm to get an answer for a question that's very important to you, and what you have to do is you serve as an acolyte for a year. At a loss for a solution, the Scryptwyrm called forth its head acolyte. Theft of an intangible item, everyone referred to by title, and my abilities mysteriously diminished, it grumbled. This reeks of a tale. The head acolyte nodded. We would be wise to use its rules. She steepled her fingers. Enlisting the aid of a fool is a classic option. True, said the Scryptwyrm, but I'd rather have an expert in the way of stories. A librarian would be ideal, provided we can find the right one. Perhaps a librarian who's the youngest of 3 siblings, or has a secret, oddly shaped birthmark. I'm afraid it will take time to find such, though. Time we don't have. One chosen by prophecy it is, then. Read from your collection. See what it reveals. And so the head acolyte pulled forth her collection, a thick stack of bits and scraps of paper bearing symbols, notes, and stains from long use. I made my background music a bit louder because this was too quiet. Maybe this is slightly too loud. Just nudge this down a little bit. There we go. Some inhabitants of the Great Library carried bespoke decks of documents known as collections. By interpreting the symbolism of the documents, they can gain insight into a situation, uncovering patterns, identifying challenges, and assessing potential opportunities. You'll need your own collection. So since this talks about collections and mentions playing cards, and this is the collection deck, I think this probably replaces the cards. I think I saw something later on about this. About what collections mean, from my brief skimming through. Yes, the collections. So, let's see. So here on top we have the Ink Keeper, which is... Okay, the Jack of Spades. Right, so I think this does fully replace this, so we don't need this deck of playing cards at all. So we'll just have this. And it did come with a little note, which I will read out. Greetings! This deck is designed for use with the Song of the Scryptwyrm solo RPG and consists of the 8 cards listed in the game plus 2 bonus cards, which I guess we'll remove to start with. The message represents vital truths, hidden threats, and misunderstandings. The art was inspired by a delightful game of I'm sorry, did you say street magic? That I played with René Legault on his podcast, René Plays Games. And the Wanderer can be used once you've discovered where it is in the game. You'll know it when you find it. So I guess let's take out the message and the Wanderer. So there's the Wanderer. There's the message. Let's put these aside for now. Oh, okay, I can use it from the start. Let's put this in. Okay. Right, and then let's go back to where we were in our setup. Right, so I have my deck of cards. Drawing first one document, then a second, she considered the results. The keeper of the reference desk beside the chanting fountain, she said at last. Excellent. Bring them to me, said the Scryptwyrm, and while you do so, I'll prepare a gift to aid them in their task. So it was that the head acolyte arrived at the reference desk. She waited patiently as patrons asked for a silver raven singing about frogs, the name of the trident locked in the ice vaults, and where to find that one book with the yellow cover. Then, when it was her turn, she saw at last the one foretold by her collection. It was you. Okay, so if you've played The Librarian's Apprentice, I haven't, you can use this to continue your character's story. So, I don't know, maybe this might be a fun thing. I do plan to play The Librarian's Apprentice at some point. Maybe this will be a fun thing to revisit after I do. Guess we'll find out. Who are you? Among the many who call the Great Library home are the librarians, and only those who truly understand it may join their ranks. You seek to do so. As a librarian's apprentice, your path is a long one and requires demonstrating proficiency at addressing the many queries brought before the library's reference desks. Receiving a request from the Scryptwyrm is unprecedented, but investigating a stolen document, even if it's a memory, is not. There's a form for that. It is now time to fill out the staff member section of the Stolen Documents Investigation form available at the back of this book. Here we go. I guess this is our character sheet. Write in your name. Oh, I need a good librarian name. Good librarianish name. I have found, from Googling this, a website called D&D Playbook, which has a librarian name generator. Which is honestly more specific than I was expecting to find. But let's go with Raylith Scribestorm. Actually, I don't really like Scribestorm. Let's go for a more normal surname. I also found a Reddit thread on the Name Nerds subreddit, which has Hathaway. There we go, Raylith Hathaway. That is our librarian name. Pick a familiar and name it. A Catacoon, part lemur, part raccoon, old trouble. A Glowmite, a crab-like luminescent automaton, or a Tumblefluff, a small library spirit made of debris. Let's just roll a d3. We have a Catacoon. Bop. Catacoon, not coon, coon. Your approaches are used to investigate and deal with issues along the way. Each represents a different method for doing so. Your apprenticeship for doing research, understanding your library, or interacting with others. Your familiar for relying on their personality, their knowledge, or their connection to the library. Your collection for gaining insight into the situation. Each approach is assigned a maximum dice pool. The more dice in the pool, the better your chance of success when using it. Assign 3 dice to the approach you use most often. Leave its squares empty. Assign 1 die to the approach you use least often. Fill in its second and third squares show they're not available, or assign 2 dice to the final approach. Okay. For a big purple blob to look like ink. I'm thinking maybe I have a very good insight into the situation with I have very good knowledge of the library collection. And so I'll have this as my 3. My then apprenticeship or familiar. I think I'll go for familiar as my 2 dice option. So that means apprenticeship is my worst. So maybe I'm not a very good apprentice, but I kind of make up for that by having a good knowledge of the library collection and a familiar who is very connected to the library. The head acolyte led you through assorted descriptions, past the little peril, and up the back way until at last you stood before the Scryptwyrm, who said, "Ah, so it's you." For the Scryptwyrm still knew many things. What about you does the Scryptwyrm value? Pick 2. What about you does the Scryptwyrm fear? Pick 1. How many things have we got here? Can we roll on this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18. Okay, we have 3 sets of 6. Very convenient. So we're going to go for set 1, item 6. So it values the stories on my skin. And the ink in my veins. Maybe the ink got there from having so many stories tattooed on my skin. But it fears the pattern of my path. Ah, your fashion sense. That'd be great to show up wearing some truly awful clothing. The Scryptwyrm said, "A song has been stolen from my mind, and there is very little time for it to be recovered." Its countenance grew grim as it explained the power of the melody. You must identify the thief and return the song to me. To aid you in this endeavour, I offer a gift. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Yep. Okay, so we have 2 6s here. A tiny bell that rings when near someone feeling guilty. That seems way less useful than a piece of chalk used to draw a circle that will briefly freeze time for anything inside it. This is an amazing gift, which I did not get. The song must be recovered before the 12th chime, the Scryptwyrm warned, its voice heavy with the knowledge of what could be. Fail, and terrible consequences will follow. And so the Scryptwyrm's dire warning echoing in your heart, your quest began. Okay, narrative control 101. Good afternoon, apprentices. Today we're talking about stories. Stories have the power to shape minds, and through those minds, shape reality. This is all the more true in the Great Library, where stories can literally take a life of their own. Once a story is underway, stopping it requires considerable skill and no small amount of luck. Frankly, that's senior librarian territory. If a story is influencing events around you, don't fight it. Take advantage of it. Use it to reach your goals. Why should we be dealing with these at all? Shouldn't they be passed along to a librarian? An excellent question. As it turns out, many stories prefer to congeal around younger, less experienced members of society. That's you, and refusing the call will only make the situation more problematic. If you find yourself pulled into one of these events, let your supervisor know and do your best. We're all rooting for you. Okay, right, and this is our quick reference guide here, but without the page numbers. Okay. Each investigation consists of several steps that you'll repeat until you either recover the Scryptwyrm's song or run out of time. A quick reference version of this diagram with page numbers and list dependencies can be found on the last page of this book. Okay, so our loop is choose a location, read our collection, which I briefly looked at this, and it sounds like a kind of like almost like a tarot style reading, which sounds pretty cool. We make a check, we use a clue, check for trouble. I guess based on this check, we then branch. Okay, and then we have a bunch of random tables as well. I guess let's open a second copy of the PDF at the random tables, because it feels like we'll be kind of going through. Oh, isn't this page 30? No, the page numbers do not quite match the PDF numbers. But yeah, it feels like we'll be looking through these things at the end, as well as all these pages a lot together. Yeah, I can see how the bell could be useful, but being able to stop time, that's pretty cool. Okay, choose a location. You can only visit 13 locations before you run out of time, and we have 13 spaces on here. My god, it's almost like they thought this through. Okay. Identify a location where you expect to acquire useful information about the theft. Make note of it on the investigation form. For your first location, use the Scryptwyrm's domain. Pick one of the following versions of the domain and answer its question. Okay. I guess let's make our text a bit smaller if we need to put a bit of some notes here. Right, so the Scryptwyrm's domain. A spiraling tower crowned with an observatory. They're all going to be cool. Let's pick one at random. Okay, the middle one. A luxurious suite of offices, tastefully adorned with shards of 1,000 mirrors, reflections from everywhere, sound-absorbing burgundy carpets, an entrance guarded by tie-wearing acolytes and a merciless administrative assistant. What does the Scryptwyrm's business card look like? This is not how I imagined the Scryptwyrm at all. I was imagining, let's see, if anyone's ever... specific things I'm picturing, kind of like the library of forgotten books from The Shadow of the Wind, that book, or like the bookshop from the Impossible Landscapes campaign for Delta Green. Just this like maze of large bookshelves and like stacks of unstable books, forming this labyrinthine place where, like, as soon as you're like a few turns in, you can no longer see or even hear the exits. And so it being a luxurious suite of offices is a pretty funny contrast to that. Like, maybe you go in thinking, oh, it's the Scryptwyrm, it's going to be this place of magic and wonder, and it's super corporate. The Scryptwyrm's business card. The Scryptwyrm's business card is... tasteful off-white paper, non-glossy. Thick, but not too thick. Embossed lettering. Sensible. Let's see. How do I describe the font? I think the font has got to be like very corporate, but also with just like a little bit of decoration to it to stand out from those uncultured corporate people. Let's see. Sensible corporate font. Sensible corporate font at first glance, but then you realise it's premium. Like, the Scryptwyrm has paid for this font. So it's like S Worm, knower of things, or whatever. Okay, read your collection. Once you know where you're headed, read your collection to gain an understanding of what awaits you. Your collection consists of the 8 cards described on the following pages. Yep. Move these dice out the way. That corresponds to the cards you gathered earlier. Each has a name, concept, themes, documents it was drawn on, yes, no response, and symbol. So when I briefly skimmed through these, I saw these are a 2-page spread, so a little bit not amazing. Why has my tracking died? My tracking has died. Hang on. Hello, phone. Let's try starting that again. Okay, weird. Anyway, yes. A 2-page spreads, they don't really show up amazingly when looking at 1 page at a time, but all the details are on the cards, which are pretty cool. So here is the Innkeeper, which would have been the Jack of Spades. We have, let's see, some words, which are here. Yes, we have skill, innovation, commitment, and obsession. It is the no but card. It has this cool symbol. Let's see, the transformation of ideas into creations. Does it? Ooh, what does it say on this side? This is the document it came from, an old well-used ink recipe. 4.5 ounces galls of understack oak, well bruised. 1 ounce blue wood, chipped. 1.5 ounce iron sulfate, powdered. 1/2 ounce verdigris. 2 ounces gum arabic, powdered. 2 ounces brown sugar. Place galls, wood chips, and 3 pints water into an earthenware mug. Boil slowly until 1 quart remains. Add remaining ingredients. Shake occasionally for a week after making, then allow to stand 1 day. Decant and cork. To prevent mold, add a little brandy. Okay, so I guess it doesn't have the transformation of ideas into creations explicitly on here, but it has all the rest. This is pretty cool. These are they're all very varied. I like these cards a lot. Like when I got this and opened it, I looked at it and thought, like, they're all so different. Like, surely you can't be expected to like shuffle these cards or whatever, because they don't have like common backs or anything. They're all very distinct. But I saw that we use them in like a more divinatory sense, which is pretty neat. So that's all of them. Right, okay, let's pick these back up. Reading your collection consists of drawing 2 cards and picking an element from each. Elements can come from any aspect of the card, including its title, concept, and themes. Create your ritual for doing this by answering the following. How do you mix your cards? How do you select 2 cards? What pattern do you place them in? Which elements do you choose? We have a sample ritual, which is to shuffle the cards, draw the 3rd card, choose its name or one of its first 2 themes. That element is related to an opportunity. Then we draw the 6th card and place it across the other. Choose one of its last 2 themes. That element is related to an obstacle or challenge, preventing the opportunity. Okay, let's come up with a ritual. Yes, here's my thing. I guess we're going to start by shuffling. So I will do that. Then let's go for like the 4th card and the 2nd to last card. And let's. I guess I like the kind of the cross pattern that we've got in this sample one. So I've shuffled my cards now. 2, 3, and then the penultimate one is the librarian. Seems very fitting, given that I'm a librarian's apprentice and I've been called to solve a problem in the library. Let's go for the If I want to use like the symbol, I really have to use the top one because that's the only symbol I've got visible. Let's go for the title of the top one, and like the two visible themes of the bottom one. So here we have illumination and is that confusion? Let's see the message. Oh, the message, that's the new one. Oh, cool, we've drawn the new one. Yeah. And yes, it is confusion. Okay. So we have the librarian, illumination, and confusion. I was wondering if they're all opposed, because on the message we have illumination and then confusion on the opposite side, and then we have warning and deception. So they're kind of opposed. Then on the librarian we have guidance and restriction, which aren't opposed, and connections and authority. Let's see. For the beast we have entropy and mischief. Okay, so it's kind of the message where they're opposed, but the others not so much. Okay, so we have this then. So we have the librarian, illumination, and confusion. Let's say choose one of these. Okay, here we go. Here's our ritual. I mean, it really doesn't matter what it is. It's just a way of combining two things. I'm going to go for illumination in our interpretation here. Okay, read your collection using your ritual. Consider the implication of the elements you selected on your location and your reason for going there. So we are in the Scryptwyrm's domain, and I mean, we are there to solve a problem, and we have drawn illumination and the librarian, which feels very fitting with that. Then answer the questions below, creating an interesting scene that gives you a chance to find a useful clue. Is there someone you can interact with? Okay, we have tables for determining people. Anything to examine, resources we can use, what challenges stand in the way. Do we need to do maybe one of these things? How do we address it? Okay, let's look at these examples. The librarian plus the forbidden. An authority figure will be present who can provide useful information if you can convince them to reveal something they aren't allowed to discuss. That'd be authority plus forbidden or revelation. We could have restriction plus temptation. You need access to a restricted section here. It houses a dangerous artifact that tempts any who behold it into using it. Or we would have guidance and peril. Someone in peril needs wise guidance. It's pretty straightforward reading. If you assist them, perhaps they'll return the favour. Okay. Glyph Warden and the stairs, you have overwhelming odds and protection. Horde of Intruders is smashing its way. Let's see. I guess they're not really using the title so much. They're more using the themes on it. So maybe I should read a theme from the top one rather than its title. They are more generic, more easy to interpret. Yes, it did strike me when I was skimming through. It's very, very tarot-like. Okay, let's just go for Okay, so for the bottom we'll take one of these two themes, the two visible ones, and then for the top we'll take one of the left-right themes. That's probably a bit more flexible than just going for the title of the top one. So we have illumination and confusion, then we have guidance and whatever this one is, restriction. I think illumination and guidance. Let's skim through these examples some more. What do we got here? Librarian bingo. Let's play librarian bingo as we go. Library bingo. Hey, we've read from our collection. You can also consult your collection to answer yes/no questions, because they've all got the yes and yes, and we have also no, yes, yes but, no, no but, no and yes. Okay, let's just read through everything what we do, and then we'll jump back and actually start playing. Right, so now that we've fleshed out the location and it's challenged to decide on a plan, how are you trying to discover a clue? Pick the approach you'll use, roll the number of dice in its dice pool, and interpret the result based on the highest die value. Okay, so 2 or less trouble is brewing, 3 to 5 trouble is brewing, and find a clue. 6, find a clue. Investigating takes energy and your reserves are limited. Every time you roll dice for an approach, its current dice pool decreases by 1 to a minimum of 1 die. Okay. Right, we can get these dice back, so it does mean we can't just like spam our top one. I can't approach every situation like, I'll use my amazing knowledge of the library collection to solve this. If you didn't find a clue, we check for trouble. This is all on here. This is hyperlinks, which is nice. Failing to find a clue means you found nothing to implicate a particular suspect. It doesn't have to mean the location was a dead end. Perhaps you learn of someone elsewhere who might help you, or find potential evidence that needs to be examined by an expert. These kinds of results can still propel the story forward, giving you a goal and leading you to a new location. You can use a Scryptwyrm's gift to automatically find a clue in a location instead of rolling dice, but it can only be used once. Okay, right. Then if we have a clue, we use it. You found a clue, determine which suspect is implicated, what it adds to your investigation, and what the clue was. So we roll dice for a die for each suspect. Okay. And we'll keep track of the suspects here. Right, and we decide what the clue was after we work out all the information we get from it. Okay. Practice storyline safety. Are you or events around you being influenced by a fairy tale? Check for tropes. Brought to you by the Committee for Storyline Awareness. Right, then we check for trouble. If your investigation check revealed trouble is brewing, mark 1 box for trouble. Boxes of trouble. Here we go. Yep, we have a track of 4 boxes for trouble. If at least 1 box of trouble remains unmarked, turn to collect thoughts. If all of trouble boxes are marked, something bad happens, and then it resets. We can collect thoughts. We can do this once per game. Let's refresh our dice pools, but counts as visiting a location and trouble is brewing. So we don't really want to do this if we don't have to. Okay. Now we can either progress, run out of time, or identify the thief. Okay. Yeah, that all sounds okay. And then we have our stuff at the end. So we have locations. We have a location generator. A bioluminescent shrine. Okay, document generators. Characters. A character generator. I like that it gives you both pre-made things and also generators of things. So if you just want to have like a fleshed out character, you can just use, you can roll on this and use the Shadow of the Shelvers, for instance, or the Anomaly Merchant. But if you want to roll something up, you can. You can roll the Guardian of the Stairs, who is cranky and speaks in jargon. So much jargon. Okay, motives, methods, opportunities, song locations, clues, all cool. And then that's it. Okay. Right, so let's jump back to page 11, which is okay, so right, so page 11 in the PDF is page 3 of the book. This is going to be annoying because it means I can't just enter the room numbers. Not room numbers, page numbers. Oh well. Okay, let's just remember that it is off by 10 pages. So page 21 of the PDF is the page numbered 11 in the book. Okay. All right, so we have our thing. So we're in this luxurious suite of offices, oddly corporate, for what I was imagining to be like a book dragon of some sort. We are handed a business card on tasteful off-white paper. It is non-glossy, thick but not too thick. It's embossed lettering. Sensible corporate font at first glance, but then you realise it's a premium font. This cost a lot of money. We are told the problem and deal some cards from our collection, and we draw illumination and guidance. So I think there's something here that can set us on the right path. There is something left behind. Perhaps perhaps questioning the Scryptwyrm about what it knows. How could someone even steal a song from its mind? How does its mind work? Is its mind kind of the contents of its mind on all the papers in the filing cabinets here? And so someone could just take the paper, or does someone have to magically pull the song out of its mind, or whatever? I guess what I want to know is what sort of a person could even steal the song from the mind of the Scryptwyrm, and do they need something special to do so? It can't just be as simple as talking to the Scryptwyrm, though, because the Scryptwyrm has every motive to help me with this. So they will just, tell me, and something's preventing you from automatically succeeding. Maybe the mind of the Scryptwyrm is like an alien place. It's very hard to understand how the Scryptwyrm thinks. The Scryptwyrm thinks in terms of books, songs, stories. I think maybe you can't get a straight answer out of the Scryptwyrm. It's like Delphic. So we want to talk to the Scryptwyrm. The difficulty isn't getting information, the difficulty is comprehending the information. So I don't just want to say, I'm going to use my knowledge of the book of the library collection to solve this problem. Maybe my familiar is a good way of approaching this, actually, because the Scryptwyrm, I imagine, is some sort of like dragon or something. It's a worm. My familiar is also a non-human inhabitant of the library that kind of has like a connection to it. So maybe because I understand my familiar and my familiar is connected to the library, the familiar can help me interpret what the Scryptwyrm is saying as it just like rattles off poetry or whatever, as I try to understand how someone could even have done this thing. I feel there's not enough space in these location notes for what I'm wanting to write here, so we'll also start a little journaling section, like down here. So we're in the Scryptwyrm's domain, location 1. And let's just write down basically what I've been waffling about. Summon to the presence of the Scryptwyrm. I expected to brought to some maze-like section of the library. Labyrinthine, that's a good word for it. With towering stacks of ancient tomes. But instead, I was brought to an office. Very well organized office. With filing cabinets. And secretaries. And a water cooler. The Scryptwyrm, a dragon filling an entire room, and surrounded by neat piles of paper. Handed me a business card held gently between two talons. It explained the problem. But how could someone steal a song from your mind? What does that even mean? Did you just forget? Is that not how you spell endeavoured? Yeah, I believe that is the British English spelling. Sometimes I'm afflicted by this crisis, which I think, affects all British people on the internet. Sometimes I will see something I write with a red wiggly underline, and I'm not sure, have I written this in like British English, or have I just added an extra U into a word, and there is in fact no U in that word, even in British English. It can be hard to tell. Anyway, I endeavoured to understand how the Scryptwyrm thinks and how it knows things, and how a known thing could be taken. But it speaks in riddles, fragments of poetry, and references to old library catalogues. So I'm going to make an investigation check with my familiar. I turn to my familiar for help, thinking that as another non-human being connects to the library, perhaps it could act as a translator of sorts. Okay, my familiar score is a 2. Oh, I dropped a die somewhere. There we go. So I'm going to roll 2 dice, and then we'll look at the highest value. Okay, 4. Trouble is brewing, and find a clue. Right, so every time you roll dice for an approach, its current dice pool decreases by 1 to a minimum of 1 die. So my familiar dice pool is now down. I did find a clue, so I do not need to. So I don't check for trouble. So following the flowchart, I've made my investigation check. I'm now going to use my clue and also check for trouble. If your investigation check revealed you found a clue, determine which suspect is implicated, what it asked your investigation, and what the clue was. Roll 1 die for each suspect. So we have 3 suspects, so I'm assuming I'm going to roll a die for each of them now. Okay. The highest results, so I didn't say which was which. Let's just say that this is suspect 3. So we'll let's give them all a color. So suspect 1 is the white die. Suspect 2 is the red die, and no, other way around. Okay, suspect 1 is the white die, suspect 2 is the black die, suspect 3 is the red die, so suspect 3 is implicated here. Mark off 1 step on the investigation track of each implicated suspect. These are marked off in order, so name will be marked off first, then motive, and so on. Okay, so name. Name is gone. Name is who you think stole song. Pick a character from Appendix C or create someone. I want to pick someone, that sounds fun. Okay, these are in groups of 6 again. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. Okay, we have the Divination Curator. Collects forgotten prophecies, file them away using a system only they understand. Protective of a small jar labelled Open Yesterday. I feel I should have a more, like a nicer font for my text here to match this book. Maybe Roboto Slab. Yeah, that's a pretty good font. Just update all of these. I'm sure everyone will enjoy me watching me update fonts in this writing I've already done. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, right, so we have identified a name. Once the suspect's investigation track is filled, you have discovered they are the thief. Now that you know the information the clue provided, decide what the clue was. The buttress jerk. A sentient glyph carved under an archway. Insists your facts are wrong, your logic is flawed, and your name is stupid. What a jerk. Yeah. Fitting name. Okay, then turn to Appendix I. Not 1, it is I. Appendix I. Okay, we have 2 sets of 6. I mean, it's got to be something related to how the Scryptwyrm's mind works, just given how I was approaching this. Something left behind. Footprints, a magical aura, or a lingering spell. Lingering smell. Let's note down our clue here. It was Divination Curator. I think a magical aura fits. What did I call my apprentice? Not apprentice, familiar. Bop. I also have trouble happening. So we're going to get this in a moment. Bop rose to the challenge, and with its aid, I came to understand... Let's say with his aid. With his aid, I came to understand enough of the Scryptwyrm's mind to distinguish a foreign magical aura lingering about its head. Fading, but not yet gone. It has something of divination about it. Could... What's his name? The Divination Curator be involved? Okay, if your investigation check reveals trouble is brewing, mark 1 box of trouble. If at least 1 box of trouble remains unmarked, turn to collect thoughts. Collect thoughts. There may come a time when you want to refresh your approach dice pools back to their maximum dice amount. You can do this once per game. I don't think it's worth doing now. So we then turn to next steps. If you don't know who the thief is but can visit more locations, return to choose location. Okay, let's do that. Alright, so we found a clue in the Scryptwyrm's domain. With the aid of Bop, my familiar, I came to understand enough of the Scryptwyrm's mind to distinguish a foreign magical aura lingering about its head. Presumably I thought that was just part of the Scryptwyrm's magic nature. But no, I can tell it is something else. This aura is fading, but not yet gone. It has something of divination about it. Could the divination curator be involved? Just don't know. Do we mark off anything in our bingo? I don't think we did. I'd asked the Scryptwyrm a question. That counts, right? I was like, how does your brain work, oh mighty Scryptwyrm? Okay. Right, so now I need to pick a new location. I'm thinking something relating to divination. I mean, we can use the... so we'll look through the areas. But since our only lead so far is possibly the divination curator did this, like the section of the library that deals with prophecies and divinations and things seems appropriate. But let's have a look and see what we get. Just skim through and see if we got anything related to divination here. Okay, there isn't an area specifically about divination, so I guess let's roll for an area. Maybe we can tie it into one of these things. They are all pretty cool. But yeah, let's see what we get here. Shadowy. Shadowy slime trails. Okay, shadowy slime trails. Guidebooks. No, not guidebooks, Dead Rose. Ghost ship logs. I think we'll go for, like, prophecies. That fits. Construction zone. Okay. What was it? Shadowy slime trails? I think it was shadowy. Shadowy slime trails. Books of prophecy. And a construction zone. Okay, let's so we're in the new prophecies buildings. This is a new section of the library still being constructed. It's a new section of the library still under construction to expand the like prophecy section, which is now far bigger than people ever foresaw the need, ironically. The divination curator is overseeing the work, but is often not present. But is sometimes not present. We have the shadowy slime trails to involve. Maybe the lights haven't been installed yet. Gonna need to shrink the text. What about the slime trails? Since it's still under construction, maybe there's like tracks of mud running through the place from like construction workers coming in and out. Yep. New Prophecies Building. A new section of the library still under construction to expand the Prophecy section, which is now far larger than was ever foreseen, ironically. The Divination Curator oversees the work, but is sometimes not present. The lights haven't been installed yet, so it's very dark. Trails of mud tracked in by the construction workers and book couriers crisscross the corridors. So we head into this place. I'm wondering, do I actually just want to talk to the Divination Curator to get some intel from them, or do I want to maybe look into like divination magic in general? That could be a safe thing to do. So let's shuffle my collection deck and use it to answer a yes/no question. So, have I come here specifically to see the Divination Curator? Yes, no. Yes. Okay, I have come here specifically to see the Divination Curator. I don't think I'm going to go up to the Divination Curator and be like, "You stole a song from the Scryptwyrm's mind." I'm sure I'd approach the Divination Curator to maybe ask about like mind reading and that sort of thing. I set off to speak to the Divination Curator to ask circumspect questions about mind reading and that sort of thing. I went to straight to the New Prophecies Building. I hope it's big enough this time. Read our collection to gain an understanding of what awaits us. And we'll use that to help figure out what's going on here. So I went straight to the New Prophecies Building where... Let me shuffle my deck. And what did I say my ritual was? It was like the 4th card and then the penultimate one. Yeah. Okay, that's shuffled. 4, we have the Innkeeper. And for the penultimate one, somehow got half my cards mixed upside down. We have the Beast. Okay, got Innovation, Obsession, Mercurial, and Elusive? Yeah. Elusive, I think, really fits. If I've come here to find someone, Elusive is suggesting to you they're not here. So the Divination Curator is not where I hope to find them. Innovation, Obsession. So what immediately comes to mind is maybe there's no sign of the innovation, no sign of the divination curator when we arrive, but there are a lot of people around. There's like dozens of people hurrying around, like holding books and scrolls and so on, and they are trying to put things together in the perfect organizational system that will allow anyone to find any prophecy easily. It is completely unambiguous where anything needs to be, based on when the prophecy was made, where it was made, if it was a professional prophet or an amateur prophet, what the nature of the prophecy is, and so on and so forth. So a huge amount of work is going into, of obsession, you could say, is going into coming up with this perfect system for organizing prophecies. So I went straight to the new prophecies building. I hope it's big enough this time, where dozens of apprentices rush back and forth, carrying stacks and boxes of books and scrolls, sorting them and resorting them according to the perfect system devised and continually revised by the divination curator, who does not himself appear to be present. So I think we should add someone to my scene here. I think I should grab a harried apprentice. Let's go look at Appendix D. D for the characters. This is we know that they're an apprentice. Maybe they're not even an apprentice of divination. Actually, let's roll for the second column. Maybe they're just being roped into this. They are an apprentice of nociphages. I'm afraid I'm going to have to look that word up. Is it someone who eats? So, obviously, if a phage is an eater of things, is a gnosi? Is it from the same root as Gnostic? Maybe. Let's see. Google result number 2 is from Cannibal Halfling Gaming about the Librarian's Apprentice. Let's see. Nociphage, one of those poor souls from the burned section of the library, having lapsed up some of the knowledge here. Okay, so the Librarian's Apprentice talks about nociphages, but what does that actually mean? Someone who eats books? Yeah, I guess someone who eats books or knowledge. I'm sure this is a word I would be familiar with had I played the Librarian's Apprentice, which I have not. I grab an apprentice passing by to ask for assistance, and as he spins to face me, I see the ink-stained mouth of a nociphage. All are being roped into the great organization project, it seems. What is this person like? I want a personality and a quirk. Formal. And idly designs mazes. Okay, probably the designing mazes isn't very relevant, but formal could be. I'm not sure if formal is super relevant, so I guess maybe just speaks in a formal way. Okay, so we've got someone here. I think the thing I want is, if the divination curator isn't here, I think what I want is something I can read myself, you know, a resource I can use, a handy document about mind reading. See if I can maybe gain some insights to how the divination curator could have done this. Let's see, he does not himself appear to be present. Since he is not here, Going apprentice past my to ask for directions to books of rituals. The apprentice says he would be happy to help me. Could I elaborate on the specific formats of the text I'm looking for? The star sign of the author. And whether it is pre or post, what would be like a divination-y phrase, pre or post, retrograde, retro-analysis, realignment. Which is, of course, a great cataclysmic event which changed entirely how divination is done. And I think I have to use my knowledge of the library, my knowledge of the collection here to guide me to ask the right questions, to be sent to a book that will help answer the question that I have. Seems there is no one section of ritual books. So I have 3 dice in collection. Or, did I misunderstand what collection is? Is collection like my collection deck? Let's just go back to the beginning. Right, yes, so the collection here is like my tarot-like approach. So I think that's actually not what I think I wanted, like, my knowledge of the library collection to be my 3-point skill. So that's apprenticeship. So let's make an apprenticeship roll. And I have a 6. Which is pretty good. So I ask the right questions. How did I format this before? Yeah. Drawing upon my knowledge of the library, I make a good guess about what to ask for. Make an informed guess. And soon find myself before a stack of likely-looking books. even here, two apprentices are arguing loudly over the precise positioning of each book. I lean by them and grab a text just before they come to blows. Okay. So, I have got a 6. I found a clue with no trouble involved at all. And have I got any bingo? I should have thwarted this Nossophage. Oh well. This book, I think, was written before I was born. That seems a reasonable thing to say. Okay, so we're going to gain a bit of insights into the situation here. So we'll roll our 3 dice and see who's implicated. Ooh, we've got 2 3s. So we have the Divination Curator and a new person. So I guess what we're learning here is that, yes, the Divination Curator could have done this, and maybe here's why, but also someone else could have done this. Okay, right, where's the people? People, okay. Let's see, who is suspect number 2? It's the Buttress Jerk. The Buttress Jerk used a divination ritual to steal a song from the mind of the Scryptwyrm. Knew that guy couldn't be trusted. Okay, then we have motives. Let's see, that's a 5 and a 6. So create chaos, or as a practical joke, for the fun of it, to watch the world burn, just bored. And then decide what the clue was. Something altered. Modified records, evidence planted to frame another missing time. So I was here to look at a book. Maybe I determined too much about the situation. I should have left exactly what I was doing until I determined what the clue was. So I've already said I grabbed a book. Or maybe the book tells me that you need certain ritual components, and so I then follow up that by going to look at these things, and now I find evidence of something altered. Yeah, that makes sense. Described within is such a ritual as one that could have stolen the song. Requires rare components. Which I happen to know are controlled substances. Here in the library. Which must be signed for. and only used for sanctioned purposes. I visit the apothecary. And consult their records. Only 2 have visited recently. Altered. Okay, I think I know what the altered thing is. So I look at the records for the apothecary, and only 2 people have got these things recently. Someone acting on behalf of the buttress jerk and the divination curator. But the odd thing is, both names are written with identical handwriting. So possibly, you know, it was the buttress jerk's assistant or the divination curator who took the thing and also wrote the other's name, or it was a third party who wrote both names and did not write their own name. I visit the apothecary and consult their records. There are only 2 recent names, the divination curator and an agent acting on behalf of the buttress jerk. Both names are written in the same handwriting, clearly by the same author. How can I tell that the divination curator might have done this for chaos? It's really dumb, but maybe the divination curator's signature has a little mischievous face in it as an element of the signature. Yeah. How would you fit a mischievous face into this surname? Into this name? Maybe just the O in curator. I'm sure the divination curator's surname is divination curator. Both names are clearly written in the same. Both names are written in the same handwriting, clearly by the same author. I had never noticed before that the O in curator in the signature has a little mischievous face drawn inside it. What twisted mind would do such a thing? What dark and twisted mind would do such a thing? Not childish at all. It is dark and twisted. Okay, so I guess we're in... Well, I kind of visited the apothecary as part of location 2, so I guess we're in location 3 now. Here we go. Okay, so pick an area or create one. I don't really know where to go next. I think I'm going to roll for a random location, and maybe we can then work out why we went to this place. Okay, so we have 3 sets of 6 random locations. The burned section. Room after room of charred, broken, and room after room charred, broken, and blackened. Knee-high drifts of pale ash, hot wisps lurking, the soft crunch of debris underfoot. What are you surprised to find here? Okay, maybe like another component of the ritual, not one of these controlled substances, is ash from a burned ash from burned paper. And so this is obviously the place to go. Or ash from burned ink-stained paper. So I'm going to go there. Why is this the wrong font? What font was I using? What? Is that the font I was using? I guess it was. Okay, what are you surprised to find here? That's just... I mean, I guess the collection deck will tell us. Let's see. So read the collection, use that to help us tell a bit about the place. Again, let's read our collection. We have the Forbidden. And we have the Entrance. Okay, so this is Temptation or Revelation. And Beginnings and Hesitation. Wondering about maybe temptation and hesitation. Which, since I've had people in the last two places I went to, it could be interesting to have a place that doesn't have people in. So maybe, maybe like the floor has given way in parts. And so the temptation, both the temptation and the hesitation are mine. I want to go into this place. That is a temptation. The hesitation is that it looks clearly unstable. The burned section, room after room of burned shelves and book ash. And what was the question? What are you surprised to find here? Let's turn over another card from the deck. Let's go for like the one in the middle. We have the stairs. Struggle, decision, ascension, perseverance. I think the floor giving way is a good fear to have in a large building. I can see why it would be brought in. Maybe I'm just surprised by how unstable the whole place is. Maybe I've never been here before. Maybe I thought it was, burned and blackened I'm kind of sad, but that's it. But then I get there and I see there's actually like, oh, there's big holes in the floor, and the burn section isn't just like on a horizontal plane. You're also looking down, you see burned areas below, and looking up, you see burned areas above. There's this like big like sphere of like a burned out section of the library where you can very easily fall through and be impaled upon pointy bits of wood and so on. Okay, right, so let's say that inkstained book ash, or inkstained paper ash, is one of the other components of the ritual. Let's see, older the paper, the better. More powerful. So I go to the burn section to look for signs of who might have visited. Look for signs of visitors. Footprints. Unusual shoe choices. Anything of that sort. When I arrive, and I'm shocked by the extent of the damage. I knew it was burned, but I didn't realise it was on the verge of collapse. A great sphere of blackened death nestled into the infinite library. With floors, walls, and ceilings all on the verge of collapse. So I feel this is like a physical challenge. I used my apprenticeship, so I need to cross that off. I'm thinking my collection here, actually. I'm thinking the floor is covered in thick piles of ash, and so you can't like really see the floor to inspect it, or like if you were to inspect it, it would take a really long time. So maybe what I do is I draw cards from my collection and use them to inspire me, like to know which direction to walk in and where I should put my weight and so on. Yeah. Trusting to fate, I take my collection in hand and let the cards guide my feet. And I only have one die here because I'm not very good with my collection. 4. That was the mixed results, wasn't it? Trouble is brewing, and find a clue. Okay. So we're going to get a clue. Let's go back to our people. So we have the Buttress Jerk, the Divination Curator, and an unknown third suspect. It is our unknown third suspect. So I guess we're going to find signs that such and such person visited recently. The Time Healer. Mends moments that went wrong. Can't change the past but can soothe its scars. Has warm hands. Okay, so the Time Healer is involved somehow. We need to check for trouble. So that's our second trouble box filled in. I don't think I'll collect thoughts yet. I think I'll wait until I've got 3 boxes filled in and then I'll collect my thoughts. But okay, let's find a clue. Testimony. An expert's opinion, a witness report, a gossip's rumor. Okay. Maybe I find someone living in here who has decided that they don't like, you know, being in the library generally. It's a bit busy for them. They much prefer sleeping beneath piles of ash, and they've learned where the floor is safe and where it's dangerous. And they'll sometimes go out to scavenge, but they have a pretty good life here. Let's identify this person. Merchant. A merchant of historical documents. I guess an ex-merchant of historical documents. Wandering the soot drifts, I find nothing. Any tracks have been effaced by time. Even a gentle breeze is enough to cover the floor here. Suddenly, a blackened form lurches out of the ash. Thankfully, it is only a man. Completely coated in soot and grime. With a very dry voice. He asked me if I'm looking for something. And introduced himself as once a merchant of historical documents, but now rather enjoys the peace and quiet of the burn section. Or rather, he usually does. But there has been so many visitors recently. I tell him I'm on the trail of these visitors. On the trail of someone who may have come here recently. And he describes a man who sounds very much like the time healer. Okay, I think this text box is probably gonna fill up soon, so let's start a new one here for our next location. Should be location 4. So, I guess next we're going to go to like the time healers haunts, wherever they are, to see if we can find something that would indicate that they might be involved. Also, I've not used my gift yet, so maybe I'll use my gift at the next place, because I've not done that yet. I guess let's try to follow the sooty footprints of the time healer from out of the burn section. I'm sure the guy we found can point us in the direction he went, and we'll try to follow the footprints and get to wherever the time healer went. Which is apparently the floating docks. A wooden pier suspended over the edge of a deep void that swallows all light. Small ships hovering above the nothingness. Paper lanterns glowing dimly along the rails. Travellers barting for passage. What keeps the ships aloft? Doesn't that really make sense? Let's just roll up a location. Toppling. Toppling mushrooms. Fables that come true. Cubicles. Okay, so this is somewhere relatively near the burned section, I guess. Cubicles, fables that come true, toppling mushrooms. Fables that come true could be prophecies. Maybe we've come to the old prophecies section. We've kind of tied our two leads together. So this is a promising place to go to. Old Prophecies Section A, because we know the Prophecies section has outgrown its bounds because they didn't foresee how big it would need to be. So there's going to be more than one section, and we're in Section A here. Actually, no, let's say we're in Section A here. Okay. I don't think there are cubicles here, if this is a place where we're storing books, or... maybe this is a place for working prophets. You know, you show up at 9 AM, you spend... show up at 9 AM, you leave at 5 PM, you get a half-hour lunch break, and the rest of the time you're writing prophecy. Prophecy Research, Section A. A dense cubicle farm of 9 to 5 working profits. Much sadness over a current project. Currently promising project that is going to be cancelled in 3 years' time when it fails to bear fruit. The caterers, because I just keep making the same joke over and over again with prophecy, the caterers have to tell the prophets off for arriving to lunch too early every day. I follow faintly visible smudged footprints in the direction the man indicates and come to the prophecy research area. It seems it's going to be pizza for lunch. The prophets are very excited. One looks up expectantly just before I arrive. Looks up at the door expectantly just before I arrive. Alright, that's where we are. The prophecy research area. Right, so we've got our... Yep, the next step is ritual. And we have an ad break coming up in a few minutes, actually. So I guess I'll draw the cards and then just have a break for a couple of minutes, as we are 2 hours in, not had one yet. Let's shuffle these. Okay, we have the Forbidden. And we have the Companion. That is Temptation, Revelation, Trust, Betrayal. Okay. Right, well, we'll just have a short break. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'll run the ad break now. So, see you in 3 minutes. Okay, we're back from ad jail. Let's keep exploring the library. We're in the prophecy zone. And we have temptation, revelation, trust, betrayal. I think revelation is fitting if we're in like a practical prophecy research area. You know, you could just ask someone, who will I judge to be the thief? And there's your answer. Let's go with revelation. And then trust or betrayal. I'm thinking betrayal. That could be fun. Let's see. Look at this list of challenges for inspiration, perhaps. So yes, I think I am going to ask about prophecies covering specifically the period of the theft. So that would have been things written before the theft, but which cover it. A picture has just come to my mind of a newsroom. Yes, it's a newsroom, but it's full of prophets. So instead of reporting on current events, they're reporting on things that are happening in a few days' time. So I want to ask them about prophecies covering the period of the theft. So I guess that's like the handy resource. But what challenge stands in my way? If I go for betrayal... maybe I can interpret that a little less like violently. Maybe it just means that they are not inclined to help me for some reason. Let's look at my stats and think about how I can maybe approach a situation and use that to guide what this challenge could be. I mean, okay, apprenticeship covers interacting with others, so that could be the appropriate thing for getting a gaggle of prophets on board. I mean, I did say they were excited about lunch. It's like pizza's going to be lunch. And the prophets are very excited. They don't want to help out because they're excited for lunch. They don't want to think about work anymore. But let's say the lunch they're excited about is like tomorrow's lunch, because they're prophets. So they're like, come back tomorrow. Maybe we'll talk to you then. Possibly. Depends what's going to be for lunch in 3 days' time. So I need to wheedle these guys and convince them to like talk to me. Like, no, I'm more important than pizza. They aren't in the mood to talk about work. One tells me to come back after the pizza lunch. But it turns out he's talking about tomorrow. The canteen hasn't even announced tomorrow's menu yet. They put it out at the beginning of lunch break the day before. So, as it is only 11:30, lunch has not yet begun. And there is no way to know that tomorrow will be pizza. Profits can be such a troublesome bunch. What was my character's name? Raylith Hathaway. Another tries to chat me up by saying that the man I am going to marry will give me ugly children. The man I am going to marry, I'm currently single and not seeing anyone, will... Now, let's not go for ugly children. Let's just say will cheat on me. So best to just hook up with someone else. And change fate. Oh, my fate. Nice try. But surely he saw my rejection coming. Perhaps that's his thing. Okay, let's try to convince these guys to not be useless. I don't know why I decided that prophets all act like this, but I think it's a funny vision. The combination of, like, cubicles and divination. Like, oh, this is we're a professional diviner. And we just clock in, do this for 8 hours and clock out. Anyway, I have 2 dice left on this. Okay, we've got a 5. Is that the good result? Or I think 6 is the good result. Trouble is brewing and find a clue. Okay, so trouble. So I think I am going to clear to collect thoughts after this. But okay, so we find a clue. So let's see who is implicated. It's the time healer again. Practical joke, I've already got that for the divination curator. I don't want so many jokers. Fame. Okay. And check for trouble. Oh, I see. Collect thoughts. Ah, I see. Because collect thoughts is mentioned here, I assumed it also let you clear your trouble, but no. It just refreshes your dice pools. So I guess I'm not going to collect my thoughts then, because that would immediately trigger trouble. So I guess I'll let trouble happen. Then after trouble happens, I'll clear my thoughts. Okay. Right, I need to look up what sort of clue we've got. Something stolen. Through a combination of threats and pleading, I get the prophets to show me their writings for the period covering the theft. One of them ominously says, "You won't like it." After hours of sifting the records, I find a record of a vision of the Doctor of the Clocks taking the key to the domain of the serpents. The time healer. Stealing a key. For glory. Then I realize I have missed lunch. And today was my favourite. The prophet was right. Okay, that's a comedy interlude over. Now onto location 5. The Silent Garden, a tranquil series of flower beds populated by statues of people frozen in mid-motion. Flowers pulling closed when touched, hiding away their words, the velvety aroma of blooming roses, water falling soundlessly from fountains. What do the placards on the statues reveal? I'm going to use my tiny bell in this place. So I guess I don't need to worry too much about what's going on here. But maybe maybe we decide it's time to go talk to the time healer to get their side of the story. And the time healer looks after the Silent Garden. It's a lesser known responsibility of theirs. The Silent Garden, tended by the Time Healer, a lesser-known responsibility of the role. Flowers, statues, and fountains. Silent fountains. Hushed conversations. Placards dedicating each statue to a time healer of the past. We have the entrance and the forbidden. Beginnings and revelation. That feels very fitting because, let's just say, the time healer is here. And I'm going to question him about taking the key, and I'm going to ring my bell and use that to discern the truth from what he says. It is time to confront the time healer and get his side of the story. At this time of day, he'll be tending to the silent garden, so I hurry over. And there he is. I draw him aside. So I have a matter to discuss. And question him about the Scryptwyrm. I use the gift the worm gave me. The bell that rings in the presence of the guilty. To sift truth from lies. Okay, right, so that's that used. Let's cross this out. And we automatically get a clue. Okay, it is the Divination Curator. I'd have been kind of sad if it was the Buttress Jerk. It's good that, you know, we're slowly advancing towards the end here. That's good. Okay, method. Oh, there's only 6 things here. Trickery. Ascension Ritual. Fine print in a contract. So, since I've been following a trail of, like a spell was done or something, that was the very first clue I found. Like magical residue around the Scryptwyrm's head. Maybe what I get from the Time Healer is the revelation that the Time Healer did indeed use magic on the Scryptwyrm, but it was not to steal something. Of course, maybe this is all a deception because, you know, we could get a lot of clues that implicate the Time Healer further. But maybe we learn that the Time Healer did indeed cast a spell on the Scryptwyrm. But that was you know, unrelated. And we also learn that the Divination Curator has often boasted of being smarter even than the Scryptwyrm. Does ensorcel have one L or two L's? It has two L's. Let's add that to my dictionary. I learned that he did indeed ensorcel the Scryptwyrm, but not to steal anything. Also, he says, feeling no guilt. However, he has overheard the divination curator often boast that with his prophecies, he could best even the Scryptwyrm. In a battle of wits. Okay, this doesn't directly point to a new location, so what can we use? Maybe we want to head... Maybe it is time to track down the divination curator and have a meeting with them. We tried to do that and then kind of failed to meet them. So let's go to the divination curator's office. It's time to ask the man himself some questions. But first, is the divination curator even here? Let's turn over the card on the bottom of the deck. Yes, the divination curator is in his office. Okay. We don't have our bell, so we can't tell if he is lying. So we'll just have to, ask him how he feels about the Scryptwyrm, and I learned any new songs lately, that sort of thing. I hurry over to the divination curator's office and find the door is open, as if he expects me. Prophets. Let's draw some cards. Let's do a ritual. We have the Inkkeeper, Innovation, and Obsession. We have the Entrance, Beginnings, Hesitation. I feel maybe Beginnings. I think we're just here to question the divination curator. I think we kind of worked out what this scene is going to be. Just a meeting with him where we're trying to ask him without revealing too much of our hand. So it's going to be, I think Apprentice is the skill for talking to people. Yeah, so I only have one die in that. So we come into this office and sit down in front of the divination curator. He pours some tea, and we bring the conversation around to the Scryptwyrm and so on and so forth. And get a 5, which is a mixed result. We're going to get some trouble. But we have another clue pointing to the time healer. Okay, fine. So what we've learned from the time healer kind of points us towards the divination curator, and what we learned from the divination curator points us towards the time healer. So each is kind of implicating the other. Through dreams. We're going to get some trouble. Oh, we also need to decide what the clue was as well. It's just whatever's revealed in this conversation. Unusual behavior. Let's see, what was our clue here? Divination curator. I don't think I actually determined the source of it. It was... yeah, let's just say the clue points to the divination curator. Okay. So we're going to have some trouble. Okay, got 6 of these. Okay. 5. Reduce the current dice pool of an approach by 1. This cannot be used to reduce a current dice pool to 0. What happened? Unless it's about the max dice pool, I can't do that. I guess I'm going to have to reduce the max dice pool. Let's say apprenticeship. Like, this is a very tiring conversation, perhaps. It is a long and circuitous discussion. The man speaks in riddles. All I can glean is that the time healer has been acting suspiciously lately, but I think the divination curator delights in confusing me. Acting suspiciously lately, consulting tomes on iromancy. That is dream divination, I believe, or possibly something to do with cats. Dream divination, yeah. By the time the discussion is done, I feel my throat seizing up from overuse. So that is why my apprentice skill has gone down. I can't talk good anymore because my throat is dry. Let's see, have we got any more bingo things? No. Although maybe I should do one of these things as a new thing. Anyway, check for trouble. If all the trouble boxes are marked, clear all the boxes. Okay. And do the thing. So I'm gonna... Let's read a book recommended by a librarian. Let's go to one of the... Let's go back to the reference desk where we got picked up at the very beginning of this, and we're going to ask for like books that have recently been checked out on oneiromancy. And we should go and read such a book. So, back to the reference. Up here. Reference desk. So now on location 7 of 13, we're a little over halfway through, or will be once we've done this room. And how are we doing? We are, you know, somewhat close to getting one of these two people done. So I think we're on track. Just our dice pools are you know, running low. I think we want to collect our thoughts after this next room. So let's see what sort of trouble we might find at the reference desk. Possibly an unruly patron. That's always a possibility. We have the librarian offering guidance or restriction. And the message offering illumination and confusion. I think restriction is fitting. Maybe it is not allowed for a mere apprentice to look at the borrowing records of the time healer. You know, like a proper staff member, he's above the mere apprentices, or he's like a special restriction. But illumination is what we seek here. I return to the old familiar reference desk, the place I've spent so much time answering the questions of others. Now it is time for me to ask a question in turn. I make my way to the front of the queue. I wait patiently to make my way to the front of the queue. You know, just making my way to the front of the queue could sound like I'm pushing in, which would obviously be inappropriate. So I wait patiently to make my way to the front of the queue and then briefly explain my mission. And ask for records, for the borrowing records of the time healer. It is no mere apprentice at the desk, but a librarian. Who scoffs. Tells me I've made up a good story. Perhaps I should consider a career in the author cubicles. Or I should consider relocating to the author cubicles. The fiction research area. Facility. The fiction research facility. And that obviously, a mere apprentice cannot see the borrowing records of a member of staff. Scryptwyrm indeed. He mutters. Okay, so this sounds like I think either apprenticeship or collection, probably. Or familiar represents connection to the library, but I don't think my familiar themselves could really help in this situation. So, yeah, I'm thinking either apprenticeship where I'm, because it's like I'm arguing my case, or collection where I'm, using divination to help determine what will be a good approach here. But since I'm not very good at divination, I think I'll probably go for the apprenticeship. Like, I've been talking for a long time, a whole day in fact. But I must argue my case still some more. Let's see, so I only have one die. Yeah, one die here. Oh, a 3. Okay, cool. I do find a clue. Only just. I barely make it through this conversation. And the divination curator. Ooh. A magical talent is the opportunity. Okay, so I also got some trouble. Let's cross off trouble and work out what happened in this scene. I argue my case until I am blue in the face. Perhaps the song is rubbing off on me. Eventually, the apprentice on the desk comes back from their break, and it is. I need a apprentice name. Librarian names. Ignatius Reed. And it is Ignatius Reed who was on duty with me this morning when the summons came. He corroborates my story through the Honourable Librarian. Who finally agrees and shows me the records and sends me on my way. With some harsh words about taking up so much of his time. Okay, so maybe what I learn here is that the time healer has indeed checked out this book, but not recently. So it seems that the divination curator was maybe misdirecting me by saying that the time healer had recently been looking into this. Let's see what sort of clue we've got. testimony. What exactly did I learn? A magical talent. How do I learn the divination curator has a magical talent? Perhaps I sneak a peek at another page. I managed to sneak a peek at another page and find that the divination curator has been researching short-range teleportation spells. Okay, cool. That's another clue. We're very close to getting the divination curator. I also like this rivalry that's developed between the time healer and the divination curator, where each is kind of trying to frame the other. And it really could go either way because they're pretty even. But anyway, we have done that. We've used the clue. We have a point of trouble, but it's not full yet, so I think we can collect our thoughts. There may come a time when you want to refresh your approach dice pools back to their maximum dice amounts. You can do this once per game by collecting your thoughts, but the cost that counts as visiting a location and trouble is brewing. So I guess we're going to mark off one location and 1 point of trouble. But we get these back. So for location 8, I'm collecting my thoughts. It has been a long day and the mystery unsolved. The Scryptwyrm was very specific. That this has to be solved today. And yet, I find myself tired. Just a nap will do. Will be okay, surely. So I have a nap. That's what takes the time, and I guess, you know, the trouble is a bit closer because I have wasted time on this. So I wake up from my nap feeling refreshed, able to talk to people, able to use my familiar for whatever it is they can do, and I know that the divination curator is very suspicious. I just need one more clue about the divination curator, and I can pin this on them. You know, early on there was a hint that maybe the buttress jerk was involved, but that hasn't panned out at all. The time healer is still looking pretty suspicious, but really the divination curator, he seems to have had the motive, the method, and the opportunity. It's just, if I were a divination curator, where would I hide a stolen song from the mind of a book dragon? That's what I need to answer. So I'm going to look at the locations and pick a suitable location for a place that you might hide a song, and then go there and look for clues that such a thing has indeed happened. I'm kind of liking the Hatford Anomaly, an establishment for rambunctious reverie, shadowy conversation, and dubious games of chance. Floorboards slick with spilled drinks. Clattering dice rolled to a stop. Favourite quotes scrawled everywhere. And that sounds like the sort of place you go and ask about new songs. Anyone heard a new song recently? Anything like that? The Hatford Anomaly, a hive of scum and villainy and partying. Can I use my familiar? That could be fun. I've not used my familiar in a while. Personality, yeah. Let's go and just have a really good time at the Hatford Anomaly and be like, so I heard there's a new song going around. Anyone know what I'm talking about? Let's see what we got on the cards. The Beast. I shall party like a beast. I shall be mercurial and elusive. And the Ink Keeper. Innovation and obsession. Also, I've just realised that I've done something very dumb with my ritual. Because I've been reading the top and bottom from the base card and the left and right for the cross card, I've only been looking at the top and bottom things because the things on the side, they're never in the correct orientation. I've only been reading half of the things. This is dumb of me. Stupid ritual. Let's change it now. Okay, so I got mercurial or elusive, skill or commitment. I think the place itself seems pretty mercurial. It's like a party area. It feels like the vibe could change at the drop of a hat. But I'm using skill. I'm picturing that I'm maybe winning people over. But what exactly is my catacoon? I can't even remember what that is. It's like a raccoon something or other. It's not a raccoon caterpillar, which is what first comes to mind. Is it a raccoon cat? Lemur. Okay. I think I'm doing some sort of party trick with my catacoon. It's like win people over, get them to open up. So yeah, it's can I do this without like annoying anyone or finding like a bad person who's just looking for a fight? So looking for a song, I go to the Hatford Anomaly. To get whatever my familiar is called. Bap, bop, bop. Looking for a song, I go to the Hatford Anomaly to get Bop to perform tricks and win people over so I can ask about the gossip. I got a 3, which is a clue, but also trouble. Red. It's the divination curator. Oh my god. It is him. We got a point of trouble. Locations. Song locations. The song is hidden in a mind. Thief, employer, or bystander? Employer. Okay. Let's roll up a person. The Wandering Poet. It's perfect. Okay, so the divination curator was hired by the Wandering Poet to go and steal a song from the Scryptwyrm, which was then like magically transferred into the mind of the Wandering Poet. It fits so well. And what clue do we get? Something stolen. I don't know. Maybe we just hear. No. Let's say that we just hear that the Wandering Poet has indeed been singing a new song recently. Has been teasing a new song. See, and that he had been seen. Seen having secretive meetings with the divination curator over the last several days. A heavily scarred man called Smiles told me let's see. The two have been planning some sort of heist, but did not know the details. Okay, cool. That is our last clue. Okay. Returning the song. Your priority is to recover the song and get it back to the Scryptwyrm before time runs out. Bringing the thieves to justice can be left to others if you wish. Where does the recovery of the song take place? What strategy do you use to recover it? Communication, trickery, or force? And what happens to the thief? Okay, so there's no actual mechanics here. It's just I envision this last scene and describe what happens. Okay. Let's get a location. Atop a stilt strider. Curated troves of documents slowly borne from section to section on the back of a towering behemoth. Tall, spindly legs stepping delicately around shelves. Long, haunting calls, deep and resonant. Curious riders rummaging through the collection. How does one get aboard? Smiles says the wandering poet has made it home atop a stilt strider. The better to avoid people he doesn't want to meet. But he knows the schedule. And he's willing to trade it for in exchange for me to overlook a late fee. We are in a library after all. It goes against my oath. My librarian's oath. But I agree. The fee should be stricken from the record, as if the book had been returned on time. I got an ad break starting in mere seconds. I guess I'll just have another short break, and then we can flesh out this final bit and come back with thoughts about the game, rather than be cut off partway through. So I will see you in a few minutes. Alright, ad break over. Back to the final scene. So, Smiles says the wandering poet has made his home atop a stilt strider, the better to avoid people he doesn't want to meet, but he knows the schedule and is willing to trade it in exchange for me overlooking a late fee. It goes against my librarian's oath, but I agree. The fee shall be stricken from the record, as if the book had been returned on time. At midnight, I stand atop the stilt strider, facing down the wandering poet. It's over, poet! I yell. I have the Scryptwyrm on my side. No. I have the... I can't just say I have the high ground. It's got to be something else that fits the reference, but what? So I have you now. It's over, poets. I have you now. The poet slowly starts to reach towards a pen, a quill, a lyre. That's a suitable poet tool. Don't try it. He pulls the lyre, but I tackle him to the floor before he can strum a note. He begins to slide off the back of the beast. And clings there. And clings there, feet dangling above the abyss. Help me! Only if you return what you've stolen. I'm not really sure how exactly we progress this if the song is in his head, so let's just fade to black here. And then, once again, you found yourself before the Scryptwyrm. You have fulfilled your duties most admirably, it said. In the future, you may call upon me for a favour. For now, I have sent a glowing recommendation to your librarian. We will watch your career with great interest. And then it fell silent, listening to a melody only it could hear. Okay. That was Song of the Scryptwyrm. That was pretty fun. It didn't really feel tense as to whether we would complete it or not, but I mean, looking at the number of boxes to tick, if I had less luck, like worse luck with the dice rolls, if I'd had to put a bunch of clues into the buttress jerk, then it would have been significantly closer. But yeah, it was pretty fun. I liked the tarot style collection deck. That was pretty fun. I think this would be, replayable. Like obviously the beginning and end of the story is the same. Like the overall mission is the same, but but like how you go about it is very freeform. I think journaling games do tend to be pretty replayable. I could see myself playing this again once I have played Librarian's Apprentice. Maybe, you know, having my character from Librarian's Apprentice be the apprentice in this, and do it that way. Yeah, I thought it was pretty well done. I liked it. Ah, I didn't visit the forensic poetry department. That could have been fun. Anyway, so that was Song of the Scryptwyrm. We have one game left. Tomorrow we'll be playing Spine, which is the House of Leaves of solo RPGs, as I understand it. I didn't get to use the Wanderer. And it just says it can be used once you've discovered where it is hidden in the game. You will know it when you find it. I shall resist looking up where it is, because if I do replay this, it would be cool to discover it organically. But yeah, that is Song of the Scryptwyrm. I guess we'll wrap it up here. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.